Recording now. Good. So I have work, and then I was just going to show how if you're doing the tab browsing with Chrome or Firefox, I'm assuming you're using one of those for QBO, unless you're actually using the app itself, the QBO Windows app. But the reports, like if you're in, well, I'll have to show you, but it auto refreshes like desktop now, which is kind of cool, if you're in the file from QBO. So I'll make sure we're aligned there just on navigation real quickly. And then I was going to go into some product-based business stuff. I mean, you might have seen it. I just don't know how much you deal with inventory. There's a reorder point now, so you can track like low and out of stock, or that kind of status. Price rules is in beta. Partial receiving, with purchase orders. Again, I don't know if you really have a lot of clients that require to have this type of feature set, so good to know it's there. Yeah, that didn't happen yet, so we'll just let's take that one off. And then we have project tracking, similar to sub-customer. So I don't know if some of you doing that. Progress invoicing, that's in beta, but it's a small beta, which you can, if a client's really excited about it, they could email to be added to it. There's a new kind of workers tab, I think, in the left-hand panel that handles employees and the 1099 contractors, and 1099 contractors can be invited to fill out the information. The new sales tax module, again, you're not going to have a lot of clients that have it, but it might be worth looking at it, for where you are in the country. And then we probably won't have time to go over this stuff. But anyway, we'll just do that stuff above. And yeah. Anything else you wanted to cover?
Anything in particular? You guys have clients that have inventory? So, okay. And again, probably 1099 is a little late, but at least you'll see that possibly for next year, or at least you'll listen.
That's a good point. Yeah. I guess we'll have to look at it.
It's just a because it's got a somewhat top of mind, right? I mean,
okay.
Yeah. Just filed it.
Sounds good. All right. So those are pretty much the new stuff that I think's worth to talk about. And it's not like it just went in. This is stuff that's probably in there for some longer than others. Some go back over a year. Certainly works like a year and a half. Not that I remember stuff well, so we'll just pretend it's what's been new. I think that's fair. So work, yeah. Oh, by the way, the new Pro Advisor, for those of you getting certified, this window will look a little different. This just went live Thursday and Friday of last week. So there's like a benefits tab, right? So you have chat support or the direct number, and then there's some options you can click on. And then training is in its own tab. And I just went through and got certified Friday. I just had some time to kill, so I went in and got certified. Now, I don't know if you've noticed the new Pro Advisor tab, but it's just kind of logging me in, and I don't know why it's doing that, but we'll try. Yeah, so I've been seeing a lot of this. So if you're seeing this, I get it too, but hopefully eventually it'll pay attention. Yeah, go ahead.
One of the things I found because even with work, what I've done is I've actually clicked on something under the Your Books, the dashboard, and then went into it because it seems like it doesn't want to go directly. So I will go to the dashboard first usually, if that happens, since it is new.
Yeah, still be nice. Anyway, I'll try to come back later. Okay. So the work tab though has, I don't know if any of you are using this yet, but if you're all part of the team, meaning you're in this team page and you have all of you there and you have your own unique email address coming in, and it's really easy. I always like to align here a little. You've probably already done this, but when Ray comes in, what clients does she see? So I'm able to do that. So she only sees 10 or 11 of our 40 clients, and then administratively I can restrict her access. So that's always nice. But assuming everybody, if someone has access to a client, when you go into work, everyone's going to at least see Client Pro Advisor and Work. They might not have Team, they might not have the App tab, they might not see the Your Book file, which is the free QBO Plus file we give you, and they might not have, Add Client. They might not have that ability, so you can restrict people at that level or give them that level of access. But they'll all have the Work tab and Pro Advisor and the clients that you give them access to see. If they have access to a client, then they'll be able to create a project or see a project or a task that's been assigned to them. So you might already be using some engagement tracking software. I don't really know, but this one is inside of QBO, and it's really just project tracking at a real fundamental level. And then my favorite part of it is the file share. So I can request a client to upload a document to me, and where do they access it in the QBO file? So you can also create recurring projects. So if I have the project name here, and it's like monthly reporting, bank feed, and reconcile, and there is something with the bank feed that's new we can look at, just as we're around matching. But anyway, I can choose the client collaboration, when's this due by, and it's going to be repetitive. You could make it recurring. Here's some of the frequency options: weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, quarterly, yearly, on the day, and then of every month, etc. Sorry?
No, what he did, actually the screen went on thing. It's a touch screen. I had to touch it to make sure that the screen popped up. The screensaver came on.
Am I still sharing okay though?
You are.
Okay. So, and you can choose who it's assigned to. Now, why is it just Ray and I? Because Ray and I are the only ones who are checked off in our user records or our team records for this particular client. So that goes back to that, And if Joe is part of my QBOA, I can just choose what clients and therefore what projects he sees. And you can add subtasks and assign it to somebody different. So a larger project, if you will. So they'll be on your dashboard, and that way you can see them in this view, what's coming up this week, etc. And then let me close this real quick. I thought I had done that, but here we go. And then also in list view. So, and I can see, so what do we have that to do or in progress for the next, 30 days. And it shows just real rudimentary or simple, or maybe fundamentally the due date, the client, the name of the project, whether it's recurring or not, the status, which is basically to do, done, blocked, canceled, or in progress. Those are pretty much the options. Who it's assigned to. And again, anybody who has access to that client would see it. And then, the type of request it is. Some will turn on the QuickBooks feed. I leave it off because it's just going to post all the payroll due and then all the unaccepted transactions, which is the bank feed, that haven't been added to the register yet. So, just because this window will get filled up pretty quickly with just the own projects I'm creating or that other staff are doing as well, I usually turn it off. Toggle switch. And then you can just drill in and see that, like, this is in progress. You can make these changes on the fly, if you want to, and see who has it by initials, right? So this is just Valerie, me, etc. And if this is old, I can just do done. So, and it falls off, but I can go ahead and see everything that's done. Again, if you go back to that list view, or I can filter here, but I prefer to see it here. I could just check off everything that's done, in the past, the last 30 days. So it's that. It's basically, that's what you're tracking. Yes, you can make it repetitive. No, I can't create one monthly engagement that would work for 80 clients and push it out to all. I'm sure that's coming. We'll have other stuff like that. There's not a whole lot of reporting here. You're not going to see optimization rates or things like that, or time tracking, really. It's just projects and tasks. The file share, though, I think is the really appealing thing for me, depending on what you're already using with your client, but it's really easy because the access point in me communicating with them, it's QBOA to QBO and back, and it lives inside of the QBO left-hand panel under my account, which I'll show you in a sec. Because I'm in as me in one QBOA, and then I'm also in as a client in another. And we'll talk about QBOA. I'm in Google Chrome at large. But I could say, needs this form. Go ahead.
Before you do that, because when you mentioned not being able to push it out to 80, can you show how quickly you can duplicate it, though? If you have a project that if you want to duplicate it for other clients, it is kind of a one-off, but it's pretty simple to do.
Sure.
You mind showing that?
Yeah, so you just click on it, click duplicate, and then you can create it for somebody else.
Set quick. You have a
duplicate's an option. Duplicate. Sorry, I keep clicking the wrong. There we go. Duplicate's an option at the bottom next to save. Still, I want to be able to publish it to many at once. So, yeah, okay, I get it now. It's there. So, the client request, right? Need this form or tax or whatever you want to do. I've run out of ideas in my brain for that. But anyway, just call it what you want. Choose the client, the due date, the status, and you can even put in some notes, and I can send them the document. Right? I'm sure you already have your document management system, but this one is inside of QBO and maybe just on the fly. It's helpful. It notifies the client by email because they're probably not going to be in the QuickBooks Online file. I don't because I'm in there already, but that's default checked, right? It sends them an email. Now we're not sending any emails for the alert, meaning the staff or the team members or QBOA people, but your client is. And then I'll show you where the alert is found. So I'm going to publish it to the client's QuickBooks, right? And then, here I am. Now Chrome, what I like about Chrome, although I think prefer Firefox, I just happen to like the UI better. That's probably the only reason why I like Firefox, and it's really good for QBO as well. But Chrome is standard, and I think that's what Intuit just says that, when you go to any of the trainings, it's always seems to be about Chrome. So, and one of the things is that if you're using Chrome for other stuff that's not QuickBooks Online related, right, you can, next time you go into Chrome, click on the upper right, it's probably your email or it could be just a name you gave it, and you can go in and add other Chrome users, which allows me to be in multiple QBO client files with the same login. So I could be in QBOA like 3 or 4 times or whatever the law of diminishing returns on is at, but let's say you might at least be in 2 company files or something. You could have QBOA twice, one in each QBOA user, and QBO wouldn't know. You wouldn't get an error that you're already logged in. So I like that. I like also isolating QBO into its own Chrome user. So when I clear the cache, it just does it for that Chrome instance and not for another I might use for other things. So it's really easy. You just click Manage People, and then you just click, Add Person, and then, I usually don't create a shortcut desktop or desktop shortcut. Just choose an icon and call it what you want. QBO work, QBOA, whatever. So I like that. But anyway, I am in this file as a client, right? There's no accountant up here, toolbox, or QuickBooks accountant or anything like that. But everything else looks normal or the same for the most part. But down here under accounting, then you have my account, right? This is where they're going to communicate with you. I usually sort by recently updated, and there's the one. Need this form for tax, So super easy for the client. They can just click Add Document, browse out, and grab whatever it would be and send it along. And it does a scan for the viruses and things like that. And I can even, this is me. I'm the client. I'm Clay. I'm the client, right? And Woody sent me the request. Sorry for the narcissism there, but this is just the only way I can really do it. But anyway, I have that, and hope this is the right form. Right? Click Post. Now I'm not. Woody's not going to get an email. You're not going to get an email. It's the accountant. But this is how they communicate back and forth. And now if I reload this page, I'll show you again, you can filter for just requests, right? So I can just see that, and I know this is the one we did. And notice that this is the alert. It's not really an alert, just lets you know. There's one, this is the message icon, there's the attachment icon. Right? So I know they attach something. And then I can go ahead and download or look at the actual, whatever they sent me. Supports most types of attachments. And then the attachments are stored when you drill into the client, not into their books file, but into their name, shared documents. So remember, we used to have this thing with Box, and now we just kind of built one inside it. So, I like the file share piece, again, the work, just to look at your projects and things like that, or that's what it is. Project, task, subtask, those types of statuses, due date, You can duplicate, like Joe has pointed out, or make them recurring, and then file share. Excuse me. Any questions with the work piece?
Can you track time on the work feed also on a project?
I'm sorry?
What do you, the question is about tracking time through work. But work doesn't track the time, and you can track time elsewhere.
Yeah, it's work doesn't have the time yet. As I mentioned, it's not like a fully something full that you want. I think in the Your Books file, which I don't really use a lot, but I think I can do like time here. You know, I can do a single time activity, and I think I can choose the project. So, I mean, these are my clients. See, these are projects. So, if I create the project in work, then I can attach time to it if I'm using the Your Books file. Because like you'll see when I get into a client file, the whole project tracking, which is kind of work, and I think we're going to put those two together in QBO. It's kind of confusing because you have projects in the Your Books file is really a work project, but in the client file, projects is projects. And then we'll talk about, well, when would you use a sub-customer, like for those doing like job costing or profitability by, you know, like if you're used to desktop and you use customer : job, you know, the workaround in Plus is customer : sub-customer or project. So we'll break down projects soon. But yes, I could choose this and then just, you know, add the time. You know, it's not a stopwatch though. I still think this is, you know, this is where T-Sheets would come in really handy. I think if you guys have heard of that third-party app, and actually I believe we bought them, so it's T-Sheets by QuickBooks now. But anyway, so I think that's probably more effective and for reporting certainly. But if your client, or well, if you're just not wanting to do a third party or something, yes, I could enter my start and stop time or just whatever my time was and tag it to a project, and then go to a P&L and filter it for that project. Not that I'd see time, because time's not posting, but if I put the time on a bill or a check, not that it flows there automatically, but still I could, you know, based on the time entry, go create a check or a bill or an expense or something and tag it to a project, just to be able to see it on a profitability report. So, but yeah, this work thing, so net, yeah, I mean, you could indirectly assign time to it by using the Your Books file, but in the work module itself, no, not at this time. I'm hoping that we do add that kind of stuff, reporting on staff, etc. I mean, I'm sure that's all coming one day, so it's like a real practice management, you know, module within QBO, but I don't know when that is or what it's going to look like. I just know what it looks like today, you know. Okay. Any other questions with this? I was going to dive into a client file. Joe, we good to go?
Yeah. Yep. So I was just answering the question. Sorry.
Cool. Yeah. We can circle back to apps if you want, but in the essence of time, so I'm going to go into, actually, let's go into Hunt's Golf Shop. And I usually go in by clicking the QB icon or the QB meatball in the status column, right? You can mouse over it and see what level of QBO it is and who last signed in and the date when they signed in. So this was obviously me earlier, just kind of making sure everything was there. But I don't know if you guys go in that way or do you do the drop down? That's fine, you know, either way. Now, if I think about it, I will tell you, you know, you might say, well, what's up with the top icon bar? I did create something. I mean, you could, basically this is me just favoriting pages. So I think it's pretty easy for someone to figure out, you know, the left-hand panel and then, you know, left click and search. It's the last 10 transactions or any report. You know, you can just start typing a report name, it'll bring it up, even your customized one. So I like the search field, particularly for the scenario where a client's like, hey, I just did the check, but I completely messed it up. Can you help me? And they might just email it to you. Left click search, it's probably one of the top transactions in the list. And then the plus sign, right, all transactions. And then you have the gear icon. Right. Now, so I think everybody can get that, but sometimes you might just put, like you do in desktop, create a top icon bar. So no matter what file I'm in, when I click chart of accounts, it'll bring me there. Right, or bank rec will bring me to bank rec, bill to bill, etc. All I'm doing is create a favorite. You know, I just start it and saved it to the bookmarks bar. That's all. You guys probably already know it. You know, it's something you go through with the certification, but there's that. I think the first thing I really wanted to focus on was the product-based business type stuff. So in settings, and I don't think I have, yeah, see, there you go, which would be under the gear icon, but I created an icon at the top, so one-click access. In sales, there's a couple things to mention regarding around items. Really, it's only this. But price rules is in beta, so it's price levels, but more like Premier. So not just 6%, but also I can create a custom price per item. And then, you know, this is where you turn inventory on, just this checkbox. And, you know, as of note, it's, or noteworthy is it's FIFO, so first in, first out versus average cost. Right? So those are the main things around item tracking. The only other thing to mention, because I may not get back in here, is that, two more things. If you have a client that does want to pass time material expense through to an invoice. I'm sorry, is there a question?
Nope, that was just the screen again.
Okay. And I'm sharing still, right?
Yes.
Is that still true? You would have told me, but I've been having, I mean, it doesn't matter. That's just for me. Anyway, getting better at that, by the way. So bills and expenses, where if you want, and Plus is the one that does this. Plus supports two-sided items. You might call them double-sided items in desktop, right? Where you check the box, this is for a subcontractor using build assemblies, whatever that means. Just opens up the purchase side, right, to an item in desktop, Pro, Premier, whatever. QBO Plus is the one that has two-sided items. Simple Start and Essentials are all single-sided. That's important to know when you're talking to your client. Typically, service-based businesses, in my opinion, should all be on Plus, at least. All right. Now, show items table on expense and purchase forms. This puts the item details section on a bill, a check, a credit card expense, aka credit card charge. We just don't call it that. Ironically, we have a credit card credit. Okay, that humor is more for me then. Track expenses and items by customer and be able to pass it through if you want. So those are those options that make it more like when you're on a check in Pro and you have this expense and items tab and it has a name field, so you can tag it, push it through, or just tag it for profitability reporting. That's what that does. The other thing I think is worthy of mentioning that might not be turned on, and that's in a different file. I will show you there's a preference if you're part of the Progress Invoice beta. Right under Copy Estimates Invoice, it'll say Enable Progress Invoice. So if that's important for a client, though there's not a lot of visibility or reporting on it at all yet, it still is like, you know, Progress Invoicing in Pro, you know, where you can choose what you want to go to from the estimate to an invoice. So I think those things are important. We'll look at all three. But I do have price levels turned on, and I think I even created a price level for this. It'll be one of my lists, right? Price rules is what we call it. Or you might see it from the product service list, and the other way to get there is sales, products, and services, right? So this is a golf shop, a lot of heavy inventory, and right away you're seeing low stock versus out of stock. Because there's a reorder point now on inventory items, not on the other ones, but just the other types, but on inventory items. Note, though we call this list products and services, when you create a new or import in, there are 4 subtypes: inventory, non-inventory, service, bundle. Bundle's a group item, not a build assembly. You're not building or breaking anything, okay? Yeah. So if you need a third party for that, sure. That's the way Joe knows a bunch of those guys anyway, and other ones. But bundle is a group item. That might come in handy, you know, if you're using it for desktop clients. It just, you know, allows me to create one item from a bunch of other components, you know, and it inherits the cost and sales price of those components, things like that. But it's not an assembly at all. We're not tracking unit of measure in here, you know, that type of stuff at this time. But you can do inventory, non-inventory, and two-sided item for service, non-inventory, right? So, and you can track stock. So I can filter. I see that the golf polo shirt. I'm just going to edit the window so you know. Here's where you put in the reorder point, right? Tells me the quantity. And newish, yes, I can make a quantity adjustment. Granted, you do this periodically. I think it would be better to just enter a bill or write a check against the purchase order for receiving items in, but you could make an inventory adjustment. It's its own transaction, which is nice, and you can even do a starting value adjustment because Woody put the wrong cost in when he added the item to QBO. So I can go back, Joe can go back and fix that, and it updates all the transactions since he fixes it. So there's value adjustments you can make now, quantity adjustments, and they're all under this, drop-down arrow too. Right? So, but the reorder point, yeah, you just put it in there. Look for other stuff soon. I can probably share with you. But we're going to add, like, if you have class tracking, you'll see an option to add a default class at the item level, which is pretty exciting, as well as a preferred vendor, so when you go and purchase it or something, it takes the preferred vendor from the product and service. It's not there yet, but it's coming in soon. Now, categories are important. Category, and I know we use category for almost everything, but it doesn't mean chart of account here or class or location. It really means just like a sub-item, like a parent item to sub-items, if you think of it that way. So I have the name of the item, and it's part of a category. And you can create categories, also a list element you can use for a lot of different stuff. Some people use it to track inventory across different locations. So you can't really move it, but still, I mean, I can assign them different locations. It's not an accounting move anyway. But some people will use this as a workaround to track products at different warehouses using categories. But you can use it for a lot of different stuff, color, certain type of material, whatever. SKU would be your manufacturer part number maybe, or other things. And then you put in your default sales and stuff, right? And I have a price rule, which we'll get to. So the thing I like about category is that my list, which isn't very long, but it's actually broken up by category. So I can see the items under apparel, equipment, services provided. Those are my 3 categories I have. And I have some administrative staff ones as well. And you can filter by category when you're looking at the list. So if I have 15 items, which is not that exciting, but if you have a client that has 5,000, looking at the list, it might be helpful just to go in and, look at just golf equipment, And it also helps on reports. When I'm on item-based reports, I can filter by category. Even the P&L, I can choose a category. So I'm doing like an item profitability report. And on transactions as well. You can search for the category and it'll bring it up and choose the items of that category. So for me, that's all about easier to find stuff in the list itself, particularly when you have more than 50 or 100 items. Right? It's going to be more the norm anyway. So low stock, out of stock, categories, all important stuff. And let me also look at price rules, just so you can see. And I created one starting the 12th today. It's going through the 31st. Now, I don't know if you're using price levels in desktop, but this is going to be at the premier level and one better. Not like enterprise, which has the advanced pricing and the quantity discounts and stuff. However, I can do a date range of when I want the price level to apply and then to stop. Desktop doesn't do that. I know enterprise does, but not pro and premier. And I did it just a % for all customers, but I could choose individual customers, or I could even do like a price level by category. All right, so just looking at the equipment or something. Again, a category shows up in many different ways. So helpful to just really define further what you're looking at on a report list, or even enable a price rule just for a specific category. I mean, and I'm just in a golf shop here, but you might use categories on a service-based client to track, other things, a different metric that you can't find a field in QBO, and assign, create price rules, because they can be for service-based businesses too, so you can do that for service items or for categories, things like that. So, and when you turn price levels on, it even, there's a customer type. I'll show you that, customer type. So you could create a particular customer type that you have, so that the price rule would only be for that. So just stuff we weren't able to do in QBO. And even Pro has customer type. So if you turn price rules on, you have customer type. So it's just a workaround for many things. So percentage or fixed amount or custom price per item. Again, remember, Pro is just fixed amount, right? Percent, decrease or increase by, and does some rounding. Premier does the custom price per item, and so with the price rules in Plus, and I believe we're going to have it in Essentials too. I think it's in Essentials already, but not Simple Start. I'm either increasing or decreasing by my percent. Here's the rounding options. And then I applied it. So I'm seeing 15% off here after I adjusted it. So when I'm on a transaction, I'll show you what it looks like. If I just go to a quick sales receipt, I think I did it for all items just to make it easier. But say Aaron comes in and he purchases, and I can do it by category. Equipment, right? I do EQ. It's going to bring me to that category so I can find it. All right? You purchased a driver. Look at the rate column. This is where you find it in desktop too. I have the default sales rate at 250, and there's the friends and family rate, or whatever you want to call it. Right? So that's how that behaves. And when you mouse over the quantity field, it also tells you how many you have on hand. Remember, QBO doesn't track current availability, neither does Pro. Premier and Enterprise do, for sure. You know, like Joe already ordered 15 of these drivers, so really I only have 30 left. You're not going to see that visibility, but you wouldn't see it in QuickBooks Pro either. Okay, you need Premier for that. I mean, without running reports is what I mean. Because there's no sales order functionality. Just like in Pro, there's no sales order functionality. Right? So, but I can at least see what I have on hand, things like that, and it'll show different colors if it's out of stock or low stock as well. You'll see that on the purchasing side too. Now let me save this because I forgot to show you guys one thing. If I go back to the list and I look at my out of stock, we just filter for that, check it off. You can purchase in batch, reorder, right? Assuming the items are bought from the same vendor. So I'm going to reorder it, and then I can mouse over and see, okay, the order point's 3, I have -5, so I'm going to choose my vendor here, and Amazon, and you put in your quantity. Let's say we're doing 100. Now, I'm going to save it. If I copy the bill, you can receive partially. So I copy to the bill, and let's say, notice, item details, account details. Why did the item details show here? Because I have that setting on, right? That setting's important in the expenses setting, right? So you want to have that. It's like if you're used to a bill in your desktop, it has expenses tab and items tab. So I'm trying to recreate that same experience, even though it looks a little different. So sorry, let me turn off my computer speakers. Maybe that's causing the echo. I apologize. So I can, let's say I just got 50 in, and save that. And remember, anything blue will take you back to the original transaction in the flow. If I go back there, oh, that's just showing me what the link. Sorry, yeah, let me go to the PO. At the right of the PO, I'll show what's been received and if it's closed yet. So out of 100 ordered, 50 have been received. So, you know, we're tracking partial receiving too in QBO Plus for a while. And of course, you need Plus for purchase orders. You probably already know. So I wanted to show that as well. Purchase orders are non-posting, of course. The bill would be posting. All right. Price rules, categories. Any questions with those? A way to go to turn it on, how it behaves?
Nope.
Okay. Just want to mention bundle, just to tie this off, then I'll go to the service-based stuff and look at projects. This might just be like a golf equipment package, and that's what you can do. I can create, the benefit of this is include, you know, the wood and then some golf balls and a hat. I'm just thinking of that hat scene in Caddyshack. Hopefully you are too. And then you have, right, you have this checkbox, display bundle components when printing or sending transactions. So this is great for contractors, service-based business, anybody that doesn't want to display everything but just the description and the amount on the transaction or the estimate or invoice going to the customer, and not all the phases of the job or all the components. This is the benefit of the group item or the bundle item. So it's in here, and I'm sure you have scenarios when you use it. Typically, you're not going to check this box. So anyway. All right, and I can add that to a category as well. All right, now I'm going to dive over to this other file that I typically do with service-based business type activity. One other setting to show. Right down here, if you're part of the beta, you just have this checkbox, enable progress invoicing. And I think we're going to roll it out soon, just at large to plus files, plus subscriptions. And that's just the ability to invoice progressively against an estimate and track that. So that was one of the key gaps with desktop, as well as price levels. So we've been adding those in these past few months, and they're both in beta, but you know, they're working fine. So if you want to be part of the Progress Invoice beta, it's an email address. It's just progressinvoicing@intuit.com, and I'll confirm that and get it to Joe. If anybody has a client that really needs it, you know, then you can be part of the. That's how I got into it. You know, so it's just a setting you'll turn on right there. We might move the setting, but anyway, for now, it's right there. Now, before I show that, let's talk about a project, if you will. Project is an advanced setting that you can turn it on. Once you turn it on, you don't turn it off. Now, there's two ways to do the profitability by job in QuickBooks Online Plus. And Joe, I think there's a heck of an echo there. Is there anything on your end that we can do?
No.
Okay.
Unless you can mute other people.
I will try that. Thank you. How's that? Perfect. Thank you. You guys can still hear me okay, hopefully. So for a long time, when you're doing the pass-through time expense or just profitability by job, you know, P&L by or whatever, the workaround is just to create a sub-customer, you know, and add it to the customer. It's like your customer-job relationship, parent-job. Same theory as in desktop. Now, this is still very viable, particularly when you're doing the bill with parent, which means that the parent company is going to be paying the invoice, even though I have an invoice set, you know, to one of its subsidiaries. You know, when I go to receive the payment, I'm getting from the main entity, so it'll see all invoices on the customer payment window. Right? That's important. If you're not seeing it, it's probably because you have billed this customer, so you have to receive the payment from the subsidiary. But in most cases, I think you'll agree it's billed with parent, and it'd be odd that it's this customer. And also, I like using the sub-customer method because it's been a viable method to do the job costing workaround in QBO Plus for years. I still call it the Stacy Kildall method, so I think it was her workaround. And this is, you know, going back years and years ago. We have video content on this if you ever want to know or know more about it or need to. It's fine, and stuff you can share with your client too. And if you need a separate bill address or more information, then this is still the way to go. Use a sub-customer, and I'll show you on the transactions where you would, you know, because of the settings you have turned on, the name field on cost forms, to either make it billable or just have it for profitability. So there's that, and I think, yeah, customer type is going to be under the additional info. So we have that. You can create some customer types on the customer list itself. It's right here. You just hold that thought for a second. You see customer types. And why do I have customer types there? Because I turn price rules on. It's just another way. I mean, there's only so many list elements in QBO. And it's like, in my mind, the same with desktop. You're going to use ones, even if they weren't for a certain purpose, you're going to use them just because you want to report better. It's all. Filter reports better. Use the list. Cool. So anyway, I have customer types. So that's when you use a sub-customer method, and then when you're on a transaction, like a bill or a check or something, this is what I keep referring to, you know, the customer project field. So you're attaching this expense to a particular customer and making it billable or not. Right? That's just what I mean. Pass through or just profitability. That's where, whether it's at the item level, because you're using two-sided items in Plus, or whether you're just, you know, doing the account level. You have an account here, and you're going to pass it through or something, $100. You choose the customer or project, and then make it billable or not. Same kind of things that you would do in desktop, right? Now, project is fairly new, and it's going to be in the left-hand panel. And I believe we'll probably build a lot into here. A lot of the job costing feature set that we're working on are going to come in here to really match maybe one day what Premier would have, like Premier Contractor, etc. You know, right now it's close to Pro, except there's no estimate to actual report. So you need to do like budget to actual. You got to create budgets for your jobs or customers or sub-customers. So you choose the list element you're going to use, whether it's customer, sub-customer, or project. They're all going to behave the same, pretty much. If you need more detail, I go sub-customer. Other than that, you could use projects. Projects has its own center, obviously, looking at these projects. I have one upcoming, but let's look at the Bergstein family one I did from back in February. Yeah, sales tax, we'll go to that next. So I can track project profitability, just brings me to a report, right? Because these transactions I'm tagging to the actual project itself. That's how it's doing that. I can look at all the transactions that are linked to the project. I started out with the estimate, right? I invoiced against it. I got some billable expense or time or material passed through, right? So, and I have the overview, unbilled time and expense. And you can just add to the project. I can create transactions right here. If I had like another expense, if you will, notice when I choose the particular person who did it, the contractor, and I come down here, it automatically fills in the project field. So you don't forget, and it makes it billable. You know, if I'm passing it through. So project tracking will help you not forget the customer project label on the transaction to make sure, and then you have a center for tracking the progress of it, et cetera, and seeing all the transactions as well as accessing all transactions. Now, I can do all this without project, right? I mean, there's other places I can go to get the same exact reporting. I just think it's nice to have a center, super easy for your clients to track, you know, projects upcoming, et cetera. Like this is the one I have Wednesday, and I'm going to be filling a bunch of stuff. I only have an estimate linked to it, right now. This is how I started it, right? These are the phases of the job coming up. This is what I'm going to invoice against. I'm going to go ahead and create it from there. And now I wanted to show you this, even though I'm not going to click Save and Close because I'm saving this for Wednesday, but progress invoicing, and then we'll get to sales tax. When you click Create Invoice, if you're part of that beta, it's going to give you those same 3 bullet points, right? All of the estimate, maybe 50% or a different percent, or a custom amount for each line, right? And it tracks the progressivity of the estimate to the invoice, not on a report, but at the bottom right of the transaction. I can see what was already invoiced and what's still open. You know, so you'll see that. I mean, we have the partial receiving on the PO, and now we have, though it's in beta, estimate to invoice, and progressively, and that's going to be rolled out to all Plus subs eventually, you know, sooner than later. So that might be something that a client's really been waiting on in order to keep them going from Pro to, you know, QBO Plus or something. So anyway, that's what it'll look like, and it behaves the same. So project tracking there, you know, again, the reports you can just go to, and I can go to a report and go to a P&L. We already have one by job that's canned, right? But I can choose, you know, a particular project when you're filtering. Just to show this, and then we'll get to sales tax. When you customize it, I go down to filter, right? You know, when I'm filtering by customer, I will see options for not just customer or sub-customer, but also projects. Like here's the Bergstein family project. See, it's parent-child. Bergstein family, same thing. So you could choose customer, sub-customer, or project tracking when doing this type of stuff, right? It's just really up to you. Which one do you want? Okay. And then product and service, just wanted to mention, when you're filtering for product and service, you can go by, let's see here, I still have it. Well, it's just looking at the items. I thought it was going to do it by category, but I don't think so. Okay, maybe not at that level. But it's certainly on this, the more item-based reports. You should be able to filter by a particular category. Have a parent-child relationship as well. All right, I'm going to go into the other file I have. Maybe you're seeing this with some of your new clients. Go into this sales tax BDO file. So I have, you'll see when clients sign up new for QBO, the sales tax module is more automated and it's been refreshed completely. So if I click on taxes, this is what it'll look like. What was due. I can view the return, etc. But where are you, Joe? Where is it? Let me see. I might have to unmute you. It's under Lauren. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you. Now you can actually hear us. We're in New York City.
Yeah. Okay. So, well, then you can tell me how this is acting then. I have New York. I set it up already. Maybe a specific, like here's where you would go. Sales tax settings. You would add an agency, right? So let me just see. It's probably already grayed out. Yeah, I think it's already, yeah, there's New York State. I already have added it. So it's right, there it is. Let me go in. For whatever reason, I made it make active. There we go. Okay. So I have New York, and I don't know if anybody has set this up yet for your clients, but it's based on, you'll see this at the product and service level. You can choose what type of retail item it is or whatever. So we're terminated by that. The address on the sales receipt or invoice, so the customer's address and where you are specifically in the country. When you set up the agency, which is really the rate too, or combined rate even, because we do it for you behind the scenes, you choose the filing frequency. And I'm just guessing on these. I don't know if New York does monthly or quarterly or whatever. So
it depends on the client.
It's monthly. Okay, okay. And then the start of the tax period, your option. And then when's the start date? So I just backdated it to 1/1 for this. Now, before I show you how it works on a transaction, if I go to a product and service and you have some appliance, you'll see some fields at the bottom on sales tax category and what you sell. So I don't know if these categories are as complete as you need them to be. I think this is a module we're still working on, and we're pushing it out slowly. I mean, you would have it in some percent of QBO subscriptions. And then what you sell, this is based on that. The formal wear, toothbrushes, somewhere. And because we're going to look at that too. So there's like this, when it's taxable, you'll see the sales tax category and what you sell fields that you want to choose when you're setting up the items, or go edit the items. You'll see them there if it's a client that has sales tax, the newer sales tax. Now, not much on the customer other than exempt or not exempt. So that doesn't change, but having a correct address obviously is critical. So I don't know if I have, I have this customer here as I was doing some testing, 150 29th Street, New York, New York. Is that the right zip?
No.
Okay, so what's a good zip?
10001.
10001?
Yeah, and you can make it 40 West 27.
Thank you.
That's where we're at.
Awesome. Anything I'm missing, or is that correct?
Street. West 27th Street.
Okay, cool. That should help. So when you go to an invoice or a sales receipt, this is key. And then I'll choose that appliance. And we'll say there's, you're going to buy 5 of them. You scroll down. Now, notice, see now, it should still be thinking. Let's go look. Tax holiday, none of the items are taxable. Customer is completely tax exempt. I don't think so.
100 times standard.
I'm sorry?
I think that item you said was a non-taxable item.
All right, let me check. Just want to make sure that I don't
think
have
that's what
anything
it was.
here. Okay, good. So it's not exempt. Good. Go to the item. Appliance. No, it's taxable.
New York, if it's under $110,
It's a bit,
on a clothing item.
Oh,
Yeah, so it's kind of a unique.
well,
Oh, that's, yeah, you know what? There you go. Get Woody, because it was his general clothing. If it's under $100, they make it $200.
got it. Thank you. See, it's super, right?
You knew the rule.
Yeah.
Sort of like the bagels, it's got butter on and off. Cremate.
I know. Let me see if I can get this one working. All right. There's the address. That looks correct. Let's do the appliance. Sales tax. Waiting. There you go. So thank you for that. They bought 3 of them. Now it does take a little while to update. So, and when you click on it, it'll show me the breakdown based on what we think based on all that other stuff. So is this correct? I got 4% for New York State, and then the city is 4.875?
Yep. Yes, it is.
Is there anything else missing that should be there?
No.
Good.
Yep, based on the address, it's correct.
Okay. So, and then it says how do you calculate this? It opens up, the state where you're registered to collect sales tax, the physical address of your business, the physical address on the sales receipt or invoice, and then, of course, a little bit on those item categories. It's a little help article, if you will. And then, if I save and close it, the sales tax window itself is where you go pay, and soon you'll be able to file the return. I don't know if that's, I can do the return, like the Illinois one, for example, because the New York one isn't due till March 20, but I can go look at it. So it's going to collect sales tax for the period, combining taxable, non-taxable sales. And then this is what I have, gross sales, tax collected. I'm not sure why it's 0, maybe because that one was in March and I didn't have anything then. But here's where you make your adjustment. So yes, there is a sales tax adjustment option, but you have to click view return to get to it because of prepayments or whatever. And then you choose the account, that it would be. I'm sure you guys will enjoy me putting it into that one. And then, you put in the amount, So you can make adjustments on the fly before you go record the payment. And I think one day you'll be able to file a form, but not yet. But you at least can record the payment. So like I have one from Illinois. It's due. So I can just click record. Go ahead.
Woody, it's a fair assessment when it says view return. At this point, it's just going to be this screen. It's not going to be form.
Yeah.
Down the road, it may show the actual form. So, but at this point, this is just in beta right now.
Yeah, right.
Sure. What's the question?
It's private information. However, for example, it's good to start with new client, okay, or start from scratch. But let's say you already have before 7 stocks collected through big books, and everything did not set up properly. And now we got client and we need to clear up what it was before. Is easier way to fix it, because how I know it's pain in us when clients set up everything incorrectly, and it's very tough to properly correct.
So, yeah, Woody, I guess the question I answer this is you can't, there's nothing in there right now that'll go back and adjust stuff in the past. It's almost like we have to think, here's the starting point. Client gave us a bunch of masks. You know what, April 1st, we're going to get it correct going forward, and then we make our adjustments.
Yeah, but unfortunately, sales tax report and liability will not allow you to create a correct report.
Well, the only thing it'll do is, like what he said, is you can show prior adjustments on the age. Is you can go back and actually try to make adjustments there to do it, but
it was not possible with old feature. Maybe I'm asking if there is any way to correct now.
Well, see, there's a part of me that says too that, and this is even though we have sales tax built in, if you have clients that have more lack of a better word, advanced, or let's say that they're not all collecting right here, they're shipping stuff to other places, collecting sales tax on too. My firm belief is there's something like Avalera, it's a third party, because that's the thing. This is more about what we've got built in, is more of a, even though we show multiple spots or agencies, if you will, it's more of a simplistic, like if you got one or two. When you start having more complicated thing, I'm a big believer, go to the ones that, the apps that really handle that, but that doesn't really answer your question about the cleanup. The cleanup is, that's why we get paid the big bucks. We charge our clients, as an accountant, we charge our clients to clean it all up. Right? I mean, that's.
But as I know from my experience, it's almost impossible to fix incorrectly set up in the past. You know.
No, I agree. I think what you do is you don't try to correct the patch. You get a starting point, and just say, okay, from this point forward, this is how we're keeping track of it, and then you worry about cleaning up everything else to journal entries. I hate to say that, but that's the
problem. Is that we cannot. Would you just correct me if I'm wrong? We cannot do any journal entry to agency. It will not work, as I know.
No, not necessarily the agency, but to correct the general ledger and all too.
So, you know, it's by default. It's like sales tax payable, which the books create, and if we did not set up properly, we will have two accounts: sales tax payable, one by agency, and second which we create.
And this is where I would say, this is again, I'm talking as an accountant, such as because I'm a CPA as well from my former life, and still am. Something like that. What I would do is go in. I would make a payment, even though it's not real, to clear out what the balance is of that sales tax that's created there, to clear it out. And then once it's in the general ledger, you're able to do adjustments there. It's to try to get it clean. I mean, it's, you know what, it's not, let's say, the correct way, well, not correct, but if you have something like that, where it's like, okay, make a payment, use the system to make a payment, to get it to zero, to get to that point where you need it, and then go from there. And this way you kind of got a little bit of a trail as well.
Yeah, maybe. Would advise you, because almost all our clients did not use feature like sales tax liability payment.
And I would say in QuickBooks Online, the sales tax liability, it's relatively, it's new. So they probably have
It was before. You still needed to create a payment using this feature, but now it's improved a lot.
Yes. So like I said, even if you need in there, like the prepayments and things like that, you might be able to make adjustments in there to correct. It's not the correct. It's not making it correct. That's why I'm a firm believer. Make the payment for whatever the total, clear it out, start kind of fresh, and then we can always make those general journal entries to clean up what's wrong. Which is not always the right way. But
yeah, we will try. I'm not sure if it's going to work, but it's very important to have clear information regarding sales
Agreed.
tax and write down by all agencies. And
Agreed.
Thank you.
Yep. And I think, Woody, the reason that one didn't show up on the one you had there is because this is the tax period February. You did that invoice in March.
No, I know, but even when I make an adjustment, though, I can do an adjustment, but I don't know if that's saved. Let's see. Maybe it already did. Yes. Yeah, see, I don't see a sales tax adjustment made because you can't save it as a negative. So I'm just trying to figure out. Well, we'll have to look at another time.
We'd have to make a payment to do that.
Right, but you can't do a negative payment. So what if all you're trying to do is make an adjustment?
Put adjustment for your liability and then apply to next period if you pay more than it should be. Something like that.
Yeah. Well, I was hoping you could just do a regular adjustment versus a journal entry, but I don't see it. Well, is there anything else you guys wanted to cover, or?
I have a question on time tracking for clients. So there's a feature where and I can for project-based accounting. And we can discuss this in a different module, which is specific to a client. And if such instances do occur, we just reach out to your help desk or how do you?
Sure. One of the things you can do, this is what I would say is, if it's an accounting type of question, I'll do. When I say that is, I always feel, I say, hey, and I'll make sure everybody gets the cards, is reach out to me with certain things, I'll do. If it's a question about, let's say, like a support type of deal, I don't think you can reach out to the Diamond support, which I'll make sure you guys have that number, which is there. But I guess I'm also not like, let's say, a salesperson. Go, here, deal with everything else. I want to be able to work with you guys, and honestly, I've got about 100 different firms I'm working with, so I can't always have 15 people reaching out to me. So we have people, let's say, hey, 1 or 2 that things are funneling. You definitely reach out, and we'll make sure that it goes to the right folks. I'll do it. It's more about, if it's something I can actually, the other day I did that in our Slack room. A lot of times, like, what I'll do is reach out, and sometimes when he's on the line, and we'll try to figure, if it doesn't really, it's not a feature that's there, we'll figure out a way to kind of make it work for you. So I said, reach out, let us know, and if it's something I can't, I say, hey, you know what, here's support, reach out to them right away, and we go from there.
To answer this question, can we just circle back to accounting project? And I would ask one question to answer your question.
So wait, can you go back to the project?
Can we go to project?
And actually, what we didn't show too is if you don't have access to your books, which right now probably might not be because of the fact that we've got multiple QBOAs. Once we get that all into one, you could use that as a spot to be able to put the time in, like was shown. If there was something that you guys wanted to do internally, too, something like the T-sheets, you can use it for your clients. You could also use it internally if you needed to track stuff. Depending, I don't know what you'd use for your internal accounting for some innovation directly, but that could be.
It's not about some innovation stuff. Question was, for example, we can have create on the project name. I believe it could be only accounting, or it could be anybody for any users.
I have the same question.
Not only
So what do you want to do with projects and work in the QBOA again?
Trying to determine that, making sure.
Oh, okay.
So as far as what you're looking for, you're trying to get.
So if I have a project in a client, and they have timesheets out to the subcontractors, we give them time accordingly. So again, what I deterred to was if I have a specific question, where do I reach out to? That was the overlining. But now that we come down to the specificities of that question, if I have a client that has given the subcontractors T-sheet, not T-sheets, but tracking QuickBooks, and now they put in the 15 hours and they want to break it over 15 projects, 1 hour per project. How does that flow in to do the cost, the project accounting, or it's not billable to client, or it's just to see the
Just see the timeout. You can't break that timeout right now unless there's a way to
So if we under.
there's right now, I know you can't, the contract, you cannot break it into the different projects
Absolutely.
right now. At this point, no, you can't.
That's what my question is.
But there might be a way to use something else, but right now, like you said, I don't know what the contracting is, but you can't break it out into
You cannot break it down.
At this point, no.
I got that. Because I've been using it, and I'm trying to break it down between 15 projects. I have to go around it. QuickBooks doesn't.
Yeah, at this point, no.
That's my question.
Yeah, and on the project, can we track time for only accountant or for any users which we have in QuickBooks for company?
So, Woody, I guess the question is, so if I'm, can we track time for, let's say, for the client? If the client wants to track the time they've done on a task, is that what you're?
It's combination. It's combination project. If you can create project.
Right. They would use the projects within their own file, but it wouldn't show up in work at all. None of your client stuff that they do is going to show up in work at all.
I'm not sure.
So you're going to have to do it within the client file itself. You know, the client would go into their file, and then they would turn projects on, and then they could assign time to a particular project. You know, but you wouldn't see this in yours. You know what I mean? In the QBO, they're separate. What the client does versus what you and your staff do.
Right. Now, it's just one of the things. This is within the QuickBooks Online accountant, the QBO. A client would not see these types of projects.
Right.
And my question was, it's only we can talk to accountant or we
Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. I was thinking about projects within a file. Like that's what
my
you're
question was.
Yeah,
Projects
we're getting mixed up.
Projects.
So these, and that's why personally I'm telling you what, because this is a project, and then there's tasks within there for the accountant, but then there's projects within the client file if there's certain things. So there's kind of the nomenclature is kind of crossed. So now I know what you're talking about. So yeah.
Unfortunately, only for accountant.
Correct.
Yeah, so in this case,
Correct. At this point, all too, the work for these projects within there's projects within the client file that you can do as well, but it's not this. They're two separate things.
So I think the other question that is overall time tracking is, let's say if you want to track the time of the team within a project through this mechanism, is that possible through
accountant.
I think that's the
Yes.
question that was
Yeah.
the other question. Is that
Sure. As a team, you could actually add the team members in it. Like you said, when you went into the time, I could enter the time for the team that's on there, or you make sure everybody's got it there. My feeling on that is if you're going to track your time on client tasks and all too, you're better off either is using something like these sheets and then reporting it back into wherever your software is for your billing, as opposed to using it through here. So again, it depends on what you're actually looking for to answer that. You know,
those are the two parallel questions.
Yep. Understood. Understood. So, anything else? I know we're flying through some stuff, and just know that we, you know, and speaking with Samantha before and all too, and I know you guys do things like this sometimes. We come quarterly, monthly. I can come weekly if we need it. But when I say that weekly, but it's what do you guys really need? If there's something that's coming up in your work that you guys say, hey, we would really like to know more about this, or some of the third-party apps, it's just reach out and say, hey, we want to know more about these sheets. We want to know more about because I know you're not all completely QBO. So if there's like an app that works with Xero and QBO, if you'd like to know more about it, yeah, let us know. Let us know.
Can I ask which Excel uploader do you recommend most? Sorry? The Excel uploader? You know, the app for QBO?
Yeah, there's one that was announced. Hey Woody, I know you want to head out then? I'll just answer these questions.
Yeah, it's great. Thanks for having me.
All right, no problem.